Who was the most dominant team in pro football history? The 1972 Miami Dolphins? How about the 1948 Cleveland Browns? They were both undefeated champions of their respective leagues. Or maybe Lombardi's Packers, or even the 85 Bears. Not so fast. There was a team in mainstream professional football that excelled beyond any of those mentioned above. My name's Darren Hayes, and I'm the author of a book, The World's Greatest Pro Gridiron Team, the 1903 Franklin All-Stars. And I'm proud to say that the Sports History Network is giving away a signed copy of this book to a lucky winner in our latest giveaway, where you can sign up at sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways and get your name entered today. Good luck.
Boom. All right. Welcome to One Guy with a Mic, Dingers and Dunks, baby. As you know, this last, 5 months, we've not been doing so many dingers and so many dunks. We've been talking about football. It's been a little fun times for all of us here at One Guy with a Mic doing the football. The research team has been doing a great job keeping up with the stats every single day. I have the pleasure of actually having 3 guests on today. I got my buddy Shawn, my buddy Mike, and I got my buddy Jason. We're all on here to talk about this week's Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the Niners. So I'm glad to have everybody here. How you guys all doing tonight?
Doing good, thanks.
Beautiful.
Doing well, my friend. Doing well.
Good deal. So, everybody talks about. I really started touch base on it 2 weeks ago about how everybody was on the Super Bowl is already predicted because of the Super Bowl colors that came out in September. How much conspiracy theories do you guys have about the NFL and whether or not they rig the games of who gets here? I know we're all wrestling fans in here, so we know when we can see a stage when we see one, right? So any of you guys really fall into that conspiracy theory crap that they try to put out, that people try to put out there when it comes to the Super Bowl and the NFL? We'll start with Shawn.
No.
I don't know. I don't think that there's really, I don't think that there's a script. Maybe it's just me. I just don't think that there are some sports, yes, that we all know have been fixed in the past, but I do not think pro football is fixed at all. I think it's just a coincidence, the colors. I really don't think that it's fixed at all.
Yeah. Jason, you answered no. You
Yeah,
and Mike
no,
answered no at the
I
same time real
agree.
quick.
I mean, so it's football. It's 22 players that's going to have to be all on the same page.
Yeah.
That very rarely ever happens. I mean, in a game,
Yeah.
that's where everybody is actually prepared for it. So, no, I mean, there's no way it's scripted.
Yeah.
Do I think people buy? Well, let's see. They probably buy into conspiracy theories because that's all they hear.
Right.
Yes.
And they just don't know football.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Mike.
No. Quite honestly, I think you can take a best educated guess if you want to go that route. I think that's the best you can do. Like, if you look at both rosters, the Chiefs have been there every year for how many straight years, right? Like, they're consistently getting back. Like, you talk about the Ravens, you talk about the Bills, but it's to be the man, you got to beat the man. The Chiefs are the man. They're there. If you look at the NFC this year, at the beginning of the year, everybody was on the Niners train. Like, we talked about the Eagles, we talked about the Cowboys a little bit. Nobody talked about the Lions at all, really. And the NFC South was a joke for the most part. You could pretty well predict at the beginning of the year, like when people make choices and stuff, a lot of those were Chiefs, Niners. So the NFL probably looks at the probability of it and like, all right, well, we can always make it fit a scheme, but why not? Let's go with that.
Yeah, I totally get that. Like, it's super hard for me to imagine a conspiracy like that at all. Like, it's just, I can't fathom it. I have a buddy that I play poker with, and he was all about it. And now he's all about the Patrick Mahomes is going to be the next Tom Brady because that's how they're writing the script now. Is because Mahomes is going to go off and win 6 Super Bowls or 7 Super Bowls now, and Kyle Shanahan's never going to get a Super Bowl ever again. I'm like, okay, buddy, you totally lost me now. So, and what do you guys? All right, so how do you guys feel like the season went for the Chiefs on this to get to the Super Bowl? Because
it was
seen them play.
very weird. It was a
Right.
very weird season, I think, for the Chiefs. Like, I think the story of the Chiefs was for the first, what, 12, 13 games, they really didn't have the offensive foot out that everybody thought they were going to have. Kelsey seemed to be in a funk. Mahomes was getting aggravated on the sidelines. A lot of people figured out that if you double teamed Kelsey, they didn't have the receivers to beat you besides Kelsey. I think that's what, in the long run, I think that's what the 49ers' main game plan are going to be, is they're going to double team Kelsey and they're going to make somebody else beat them.
Well, that, and I think they showed what a champion is all about, and that's perseverance. I am not a Kansas City Chief fan by no means, but you can't deny the fact that they just played better than everybody else towards the end.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, the Chiefs are always going to be the Chiefs. And I agree with Shawn. Like, if you take Kelsey out of the mix, the wide receivers are just not there. Like, you don't have Tyreek. The running backs are good, but they're not great. And Mahomes was getting frustrated, maybe with the game plan, maybe with the lack of Kelsey being able to get open from a double. But whatever teams used as the blueprint for that first 13 weeks, I don't know if the Chiefs modified their plan or teams just haven't done it since, because Kelsey's just rolling the last few weeks. And with Kelsey being able to get on the roll, that kind of opens everybody else back up, and they're making some catches. Like, they should have probably lost to the Bills. Like, when you really think about it, you're going in for a touchdown at the end zone, and not Kelsey, because that's basically what I call their wide receiving cores, not Kelsey, just fumbles the ball out of the end zone and gives up a touchback. Like, if the Bills capitalize on that mistake, they're the ones here. So I think the Chiefs season has been up and down, and I do believe they have been fortunate here and there. I think that comes with any successful team. You cannot always just be a juggernaut. You do need a little luck sometimes, because that's like the secret ingredient. That's the secret spice in the sauce, is you have to appreciate sometimes you get away with it. And I think the Chiefs have gotten away with it in some cases to help them get there, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's not to diminish anything they've done.
I think also, too, that the Chiefs have a stronger resilience because of the conference they're in. Let's just be blatantly honest. Right now, the AFC is the better conference than the NFC when you look top to bottom. I mean, you have Allen when Burrow comes back, you've got Burrow, you've got Lamar, you have Mahomes, you have Tua down in Miami, I just think from the top to bottom, the AFC gives them more of a test than the NFC does. And I really think, as much as it kills me because I am not a Chiefs fan, I am not a Mahomes fan, I think that they will find a way to beat the 49ers, even with the 49ers defense.
Well, let's talk about the Chiefs defense real quick. Well, hold on. Let's start with let's top off with the Chiefs offense real quick. Because as a Raiders fan, as a guy that watches the Chiefs football pretty much every single weekend, because I live in Iowa, so our choices are Minnesota Vikings or Kansas City Chiefs on the TV every week, no matter what. I mean, the Chiefs did play a lot of primetime games as well, but realistically, the Chiefs didn't have that wide receiver that stepped up, right? They didn't have that wide receiver at the start of the year that stepped up. It was supposed to be MVS. It was supposed to be it's supposed to be Kadarius Toney. Those guys were supposed to step up and help take the pressure off Travis Kelce, right? But then out of the blue, here comes Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice has actually not been, I'm not going to say he's been doing Tyreek Hill type stuff, but he's actually been catching the ball, getting open in the flats, and he's been using his speed to break it off. I also, watching with that Chiefs offense, I also see a lot of Travis Kelce not necessarily having to run routes anymore. It's more like Travis Kelce getting back to what he used to do, which was find the open spots in the defense. If Travis Kelce's biggest, most successful seasons has been him like starting off with a route and then just being able to get open underneath and then taking it and then taking it upfield. Now, with the Chiefs offense, they've been really helped out by that Chiefs defense, because this Chiefs defense is the best defense that Mahomes has had since he's became quarterback. And this defense ranks second in points per game. They rank first in sack percentage. They rank third in touchdowns allowed per game. And they have numerous other they're in like basically a top 5 defense right now. Have they played the weapons that the Niners are going to throw at them? Not yet, but they've also haven't had a healthy, their defense hasn't been healthy for all of the playoffs either, because either Reed's been out, Snead's been out, who else was out? They just lost one of their DNs for the year because of an ACL. Like, the Chiefs defense still hasn't been the best it could be in these playoffs as it was the last 5-6 weeks of the season. So how do you think the Chiefs defense is going to hold up against that Niners offense? What do you think, Jason? We'll start with Jason.
I think the 49ers are going to have to really get out of the gate throwing the ball, because the Chiefs defense is top notch when it comes to running the ball, which is the 49ers strength. So Brock Purdy is going to have to, in my opinion, probably start off strong and get that Chiefs defense to loosen up a little bit, start playing a little bit back. If they don't, it'll be pure domination, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And again, I don't like the Chiefs, but you can't deny the fact that they've got, out of the two, it's the best defense.
Yeah. Mike, what's your thoughts?
I actually like the Niners defense a bit more than the Chiefs. I think up front, like front seven, that's going to be good. The secondary is going to be where that kind of happens. But with the Chiefs defense getting healthy, I think that all comes down to, like you said, they lost one of the front 4, right?
Yeah.
That's going to make an impact when you have a guy like Christian McCaffrey getting the ball and getting the ball and getting the ball. Because if I'm going up against this Chiefs defense, I'm looking at McCaffrey. It's the last game of the year. It's the biggest game of your career. I think you got to go to the big players in the big moments. I think you turn around, hand the ball off, hit him out in the flat, do everything that CMC does well, and let him carry you. And then if Brock Purdy needs to make a throw, we'll see what the Chiefs defense has down there. But up front, they're banged up a little, and in the secondary deep, they're going to be banged up a little. So I'd probably try and exploit those two things.
Okay. Yeah, I can see, I definitely see that. So you're saying it's going to come down, have McCaffrey run the ball. He's your best player. He's probably the best player between the two teams, right? Like, best position player.
Yeah, because you can't quantify what Mahomes does to what McCaffrey does, because Mahomes is in charge. But yeah, as far as skill players outside the quarterback position, absolutely, McCaffrey's the best.
Gotcha. And Jason, you're thinking that Purdy's going to have to show up for this one, huh?
Yeah. So I agree with Fallon.
Yeah.
It's going to end up in McCaffrey's hands.
Right.
However, if you start that way, it's going to be difficult to continue it. with the Chiefs defense. I think right now their weakest part is going to be their backfield,
Right.
defensive backs.
Yeah. So the Niners have the number 1 ranked rushing offense. And the Chiefs are like, I don't know, 10th against the run, I think. But when they played Baltimore was had the second most rushing yards per game. And it seemed like the Chiefs were able to keep the Ravens in check. Was that but also the Ravens seemed like they got out of the running style. It looked like they really tried to having Lamar just open it up by throwing it, which I don't think that really worked out because Lamar's a good quarterback. Let's not beat around the bush. He's a good quarterback, but his accuracy lacks. Can y'all agree with that statement?
Oh, absolutely.
He's not a quarterback that you want to put the ball in his hands,
right,
to throw.
To throw. Like if he's going, it's kind of like the Tebow situation. I'll just put it that way. And he's better than Tebow. I'm not comparing those two.
Right.
But I'm saying you put the ball in his hands, let him make a decision. Like, do I have the time to get out and get 9 yards on a rush? Can I dump it off, or do I have a big shot? Like, he needs to see what the defense is doing in front of him. I think, and they don't. Let's not compare this too. We're talking about the Ravens running backs. They're not Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
That's right.
You know what
Correct.
I mean?
Yeah.
So you're going to work off play action so much more. If they can't, use the play action deep. And once you can do that, I think that plays very differently than, let's be honest, the run option style of the Ravens offense.
Right. So Brock Purdy has stepped up 2 playoff games. People are still calling him a game manager. He had a 5-minute drive against the Packers, and then he had that second half comeback win against the Lions. Now, my question is, was that more Brock Purdy stepping up and being a quarterback that he can be? As a person that lives in Iowa and has seen Brock Purdy play at Iowa State, he's shown glimpses of that. Or is that the Lions offense not maintaining control of the ball and their defense being out there too long? And then on the Packers side, was that the Jordan Love with the last 2 minutes not actually pulling out by dumping it down to Aaron Jones?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
As far as the defense, so as far as the Lions go, they shouldn't have lost that game.
Right.
So, they came out flat in the second half, and I think I posted in chat, they got to keep the pedal to the metal, and they didn't.
Right.
But a lot of it has to do with the fact they just haven't been there before.
Right.
The players have to make the plays. Do I agree with the 4th down decisions that were made? No. Do I think that cost them the game? Yes, I do. Would the outcome have been different? Probably not. They were playing in San Francisco.
Right.
And they were on fire. They were moving the ball. Purdy was having a hell of a game. The entire offense was. Once McCaffrey started rolling, you couldn't stop him.
Right.
They couldn't stop him. The Chiefs' defense against the Ravens, they were able to, for a solid week, focus solely on stopping that run. And they did. Baltimore doesn't have the offensive capabilities that the 49ers have. So, yeah, I mean, I personally think, if the 49ers come out just gunning the ball, then that's going to open up McCaffrey to have probably one of the biggest Super Bowl games in history. Because he has that potential.
Yeah.
I think you come out and you run play action with him to start the game. Get Debo involved on short passes or get something over the middle through play action. And once you get that, then you feed him the ball. Second down, first downs, then mix in a little more play action. I would not get out of, even if your game plan does not work the first even the first quarter, like if it's struggling, I think you still stick to it and let your offensive line do their job. And I think that'll open up plays as we go.
So I have a question. Do we think as a group, because like this could potentially be a run and gun. Can the 49ers hang with the Chiefs?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I do.
Absolutely they do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I just feel like with the offensive weapons and the speed on both sides of the football, it's gonna be a shootout in that way. You know what I mean? Like, but that's kind of the funny factor of it all, right? Like, if that's the case, do the defense surprise us at all?
I mean, so I think it's going to be a fourth quarter game, personally. I think it's going to be a tale of two halves. I think it's going to be fun. I mean, I saw a lot of people not wanting to watch it because it was the 49ers and Chiefs. I get it. I think a lot of America would have loved to have seen the Lions get in. But I think you have the two best teams.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a solid fourth quarter game. And I think it's going to go to whoever has the ball last and whoever has made the least amount of mistakes is going to win.
So the Niners have rushed the ball only 57 times in their 2 playoff games. 37 by McCaffrey and 11 by Purdy. And obviously those 11 by Purdy are not design runs because he doesn't do design runs. So, and I think that's what's really helped the Niners as well, is that especially watching those second half games, the second half of the Packers and the Lions game, is when Purdy looked at his first 2 reads and they weren't there and then was able to take off. I think that helped out the Niners a lot. It extended the drives, kept their defense off the field for an extra 2-3 minutes, and really just tired out the other defense doing that. So to me, my X factor in this whole thing is going to be Brock Purdy actually going to be moving with his feet when the pass plays are covered and not moving out. Let's just go. So let's start with the Niners. And let's go with who you guys, not McCaffrey. Let's have, we all know McCaffrey's going to be, we all can agree McCaffrey's going to be the player that the Niners need to show out the best because he's the best player. So if you don't have McCaffrey, who is your second option on that Niners defense or on Niners offense that you need to have step up? Is it Kittle, Samuel, Ayuk, or is it one of the guys on the bench that needs to step up in your guys' eyes? If it's
I
not,
think somebody's got to come off the bench.
Yeah, not Purdy and McCaffrey. Say Purdy's not hitting isn't able to move the ball. He's getting shut down because he's getting blitzed. With Steve Spagnuolo, one of the best defense corners of all time, in my opinion, is able to get to him and he's able, and all the guys are able to keep their lanes and do the right things. McCaffrey's not getting off the ball because again they're getting that push up front. So who has to step up for the Niners and for their offense to be successful?
Deebo Samuel. Dude, the X factor. You can bring on jets. You can get out in the flat.
Yeah.
He can change up an offense like nobody else that I've seen in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the dude can actually get out there, run the plays, get the short, go get in the backfield. Put him and McCaffrey in the backfield, you know, pitch, double revert, something. Like if you need a spark, I think Samuel is the guy that gives it to you.
Yeah. Jason, who's your X factor on the Niners offense?
I mean, so to keep from repeating what Fallon just said, I would probably go with George Kittle.
Yeah.
I think he has a opportunity to have a big game. I think he needs to have a bigger game than Travis Kelce.
Right. Because George Kittle's basically become that fourth option on that offense.
Yeah,
Remember when he used to be option 1?
that's right. Yep.
And now he's turned into option 4. Because you're going to go McCaffrey, you're going to go Samuel, Ayuk's probably going to get a look on the outside, and then George Kittle. And just
Yep.
think about Ayuk being that third option now. Look how far that guy's came as well. Just 2 years ago, he was benched. Shanahan had him benched on the team because he wasn't practicing hard enough or whatever, wasn't doing what he needed.
Yep.
So, okay. I like the Debo Samuel. I think, with him, hopefully that shoulder holds up. I know he got knocked out of the Green Bay Packers game and then came back. And I think with having 2 weeks off, I think injuries aren't going to be that big of an issue coming into this week's game. So let's talk about the Niners defense real quick. Their linebackers, Fred Warner and Greenlaw, are arguably the best tandem linebackers in the NFL right now. Oh, do we agree with that? Like Warner and Greenlaw being two of the best duo linebackers in the NFL?
Yeah, probably because the only he doesn't line up as a linebacker all the time because I think anybody in Dallas you can pair with Micah Parsons.
Right.
That's probably going to be, if he lined up at linebacker more often than just a rush edge a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe he is quote unquote a linebacker, but if you watch him play, he does a little of everything.
Yeah, he pretty much is that Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, like he's
area,
that Lawrence Taylor
DN
guy.
Linebacker. Yeah.
But
I also think,
beyond that, I would agree.
Yeah, and I also think Nick Bosa and Young need to really step up and contain Mahomes. I mean, look, you can't control him, but if you can contain him just a little bit and keep him in that pocket, because he's not a pocket passer.
Right. Do you know who I'm really shocked has done really well? He doesn't make a lot of tackles, but he's always in on a play. Cleveland Farrell, from former number 4 pick, drafted by the Raiders, went to the Niners this year, and he just seems like he's in on every play. And to watch that happen just shows how well the Niners system works on players. Because I don't think Farrell really got a chance with the Raiders. I think I said he was Oakland, number 4 pick of Oakland. It's really the Vegas Raiders. But Farrell's, like I say, he doesn't make a lot of plays, but he's in on every play. If that makes sense. He gets that push. Now, you're talking about the outsides with Chase Young and Nick Bosa, probably, 2 DNs that are really well. And then you got Eric Armstead on there as well. But that Niners defense, a lot of first rounders on there, a lot of guys that can make a push. And I'm not so sold on this Chiefs offensive line protecting Mahomes. Do you guys see that as well? Like, I just think that the Niners defense is just going to overwhelm this Chiefs offensive line.
Yeah, I definitely think, like, again, even if you talk about those guys up front, but you also talk about the linebackers, depending on what the defense wants to do. The Chiefs line isn't great. Like the magic for the Chiefs is Mahomes.
Yeah.
To extend a play, to get out of a sack, get out of a tackle, to do whatever you need to do. That's the magic sauce for them. Right now, you look at that line. If they can engulf them, like that line, Mahomes is going to have a lot of pressure and a lot of stuff coming at him. He's going to have to make decisions very fast. So if you do the secondary deal with Kelsey and they're getting pressure,
yeah,
that's gonna create a lot of issues for the Chiefs.
So it definitely goes with the Jason's point of you have to make Mahomes a pocket passer.
Yes.
Okay. You know what? I like that. I see that the same way. Samuel's the X factor, going to be that X factor. Kittle's going to be that X factor, but that Niners defense is going to have to step up and make Mahomes a pocket passer. All right. So let's let's go ahead and get into our picks here. Let's pick who's gonna win this, and give me a reason why you're going with who you're going with. All right, we'll start with Jason. Mike, I'm gonna leave you last because you've been teasing this all week about, and so I just want the
That's
listeners
fine with me.
I just
That's
want the
fine with me.
listeners to hang on a little bit longer for your pick because you've been teasing it on stream all week and in chats. So let's start with Jason.
Well, I think it's no secret. I've said it several times this evening. I am not a Chiefs guy. Look, I'm an underdog guy. Brock Purdy is probably the biggest underdog there is to be Mr. Irrelevant to a possible Super Bowl champ for the first time in NFL history is something that you can get behind. You can root for it. You know, I just, I like Shanahan. I liked his dad when he was in Denver and what he was able to do with Elway. What he's done with Brock Purdy is amazing. So yeah, look, 49ers. I'll go out on a limb. We've been talking about defense. I'm gonna say 49ers 45, Kansas City Chiefs 38.
All right. Okay. There. Let's see. All right. Well, I'll go next. As much. Oh man, I just kicked the dog. All right. So as much as I am as much as I hate the Niners, really, as a Raiders fan, I hate both teams. But I just hate the Niners for some reason a lot more. That hate for the Niners just like, because here's the deal. I can get behind some Chiefs a little every now. I like Kelsey, I like Mahomes. And that's, as a Raiders fan, I'm probably gonna get a lot of guff for that because you can't like either of those two. But to me, they're both very personable. They're both very likable characters. Mahomes, and I like a little cockiness to my quarterback. I wish we had that in Las Vegas, but we don't. I like a little cockiness as a wide receiver because wide receivers, tight ends, supposed to be prima donnas. That's all there is to it. So I can get behind that. I like Andy Reid. Andy Reid's been here before, has done it before, and I really think he coaches with the mentality of I lost when I had Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens in the Super Bowl, and I don't think he's ever going to not coach that way. I look at how you got the number 2 ranked offense going against the number 2 ranked defense, and I think the Chiefs, as much as the Niners defense can get that push on the Chiefs offensive line, I still think Mahomes is still able to extend plays with his legs just enough in the passing, and he has just such a strong arm. If they start doubling Kelsey and it's up to the wide receivers, it's game over. If Mahomes has to start throwing it to wide receivers on the Chiefs, it's going to be game over. So I'm going with the Chiefs here. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring affair. I mean, but I think it's, well, let's put it this way. The last time these two teams played, it was 44-23 in October 23rd in Santa Clara of 2022 season. It was a regular season game. So you know what? It might get over 30. I'll go 31, 20, 25 just for shits and giggles because I think Shanahan goes for 2 at some point and gives it to Mr. McCaffrey on the 2-yard line to get a 2-point conversion to try to get that extra score. So I got the Chiefs winning. Let's go to Shawn. Who you got and why?
I got the Chiefs winning. I think defense, they're going to come. They've got to bend, not break defense. Right now, you still have Kelsey, you still have Rice, you still have a couple of receivers, and that team right now is just gelling together at the right time. I'm going to say 31-28 Kansas City.
All right. We got 2 Chiefs. We got 1 Niners. All right. Let's give it all up to Mr. Mike. See what he's got going on for us. This is the pick I've been waiting for all week as well.
All right. And I have my reasoning too. And it has very little to do with football, to be honest.
Love it.
I am not a Chiefs fan. I have no dog in this hunt. I'm a Cowboys fan by nature. So I have no dog in this hunt. Like I remember the Niners years very specifically because when you grew up where I grew up, like my family liked the Niners. I like the Cowboys, big 90s thing, 80s, 90s thing, we all know. I think the Niners have a great team. I think they've been good, they've not been great. I think the Chiefs, like Shawn said, they're gelling at the right time. Everybody's coming together. I agree with your point. If you have to rely on wide receivers alone, that's going to be a problem. But I do think Mahomes and Kelsey are get it done. I think those two are such a connection. I think the defense can do what we do and say bend not break more often than not. And quite honestly, I want the Chiefs to win, and they're the team I'm going to take because I want to see the world explode. That's exactly why I'm taking the Chiefs. I believe the Chiefs are – these teams are so razor thin to each other. I do think the Chiefs win. And my reasoning is they're so even. I think something puts them over the X factor, and I want to see them win because of Taylor Swift. That's why I want them to win. I think they're good enough to win. I think they're talented enough to win. And I think that's why I kind of want to see that because those are the moments that are going to make me the happiest. Like her coming down, celebrating. I just want to watch the world. Some men just want to watch the world burn, and that's me. That's what I want out of this. And I do think the Chiefs are good enough. I think they're a talented team, and they came together at the right time. And I kind of echo. I'm thinking 31-27, somewhere in there. Like you took 25, Shawn took 28. I think 31's the right number for the offense that they'll need to hit. I could see Cup because Shanahan likes to go sometimes instead of pushing it too far, he'll kick field goals. I think they get to the 27. I think the Chiefs late on a Mahomes to Kelsey touchdown to win the thing, and we get the big shot up there with like 10 seconds left of her going nuts and him going nuts, and I think that's the way I want my Super Bowl to end. That's how I want it.
I want a shirtless Jason Kelsey storming the field. That's what I want.
Oh yeah, God Almighty, that'd be great, right? With double fist and beers in each hand. With it's in Vegas, but I want him to have the knit cap on and just running out there like that's all I need. I'm good.
Oh man. So we got 3 Chiefs and 1 Niners, and that's okay, Jason. We all can't be right.
It's all good.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh. I really want to do thank you boys for taking your time out of your night and coming and hopping on and doing this thing with me. You guys are the first guests I've ever had on my podcast. Just think about that. I've been doing this podcast for 2 years. Never had a single guest. And the first 3 I have is the 3 of you, because I feel like you 3 would be the most knowledgeable, give the most information. And I like all 3 of you. I mean, if I'm gonna pop a cherry, it might as well be with you 3.
Well, I mean, next time have some drinks and chips and dip or something with us, okay? I mean,
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, next time I'll bring the food. So
Bottle of Jaeger wouldn't be bad either.
it wouldn't be either. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. As always, this is Chad Cain with One Guy with a Mic, Dingers and Dunks. A lot less dingers, a lot more dunks. Thanks to my guests, Jason, Mike, and Shawn being on tonight. Really appreciate you guys. The Super Bowl is on Sunday, airing on CBS. Thank God we get Romo and Nance and not the other 2 on Fox, because I cannot stand listening to Greg Olsen at all. My ears bleed. Not as much as listening to Joe Buck talk, but just about. So as always, also remember, if you go to shankitgolf.com, go to the code at the end of when you go to checkout and type in one guy, ONE, ONEGUY, you'll save some cash on your next polo. As always, appreciate everyone listening to this. Make sure to drop that follow, drop that, ring that bell to get the notice when we have another podcast. We will be back next week talking about the NBA All-Star game, boys and girls, because it's that time of year already. And then right around the corner is spring training. We got to love this time of year. As always, thanks for tuning in. And hey, you know what? Take care of yourself and each other.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, aka the Football History Dude, and I wanted to thank you for stopping by to listen to another episode here on the Sports History Network. Our podcasters are passionate about uncovering and sharing sports stories from yesteryear. And if you didn't know it already, we have over 30 shows across the network covering all sorts of sports history topics. In fact, here's a glimpse into one of our awesome podcasts here on the network.
The Pigskin Tales podcast is all about the lesser-known pro football players. Yes, there are stories about the ones we know, like Brad Tarkenton and Harold Red Grange. But have you ever heard of Ernie Nevers? How about Dave Osborne or even Grady Alderman? These men created their own path to the NFL. How did they do it? Listen to the Pigskin Tales podcast, now streaming on your favorite music platform. Go to pigskintales.com.
How about that? I bet you're super hyped to go listen to that new podcast, right? Well, to learn about this show and all the other podcasts on the network, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com/podcasts. Again, that's sportshistorynetwork.com/podcasts. Head over there today to find your next favorite sports history podcast.